Hello everyone and welcome to Buckmore Park for round 3 of the Club 100 E60 Championship. Missed round 2, Clay Pigeon, way too far away. Last one I did was Shennington, and hopefully you saw that video go up on Rich T Racing, and I hope you enjoyed it. This is obviously a track I know very well, done a fair few videos for Rich T here, so I'm not going to go into too much detail on it. My personal aim for this race is to probably come top 10. That'd be a great aim. If not top 10, at the very least, I want to beat Andrew Mather at Double Dash, because he convincingly beat me last time at Shenny. So at my home track, I'm hoping for good things. I've got to hope for good things. I'm in the A class after all. Didn't mention that last time, actually. There are two classes in the E60 Championship, an A and B, and for some reason I'm in A. Yeah, probably the next thing you'll see is me in a go-kart ready to go out for practice. Hello everyone and welcome to a go-kart that is ready to go out for practice. Obviously 20 minutes of practice now instead of 10. Very generous of the Club 100 boys to give us an extra 10 minutes, although it has to be said, on today of all days, I'm not entirely sure it was necessarily needed or wanted, because it was about 35 degrees. So we were doing 25 minutes of practice qualifying before going into a 1 hour race. This was going to be challenging. This was going to be probably one of the most physically demanding races, or race days I should say, that I've ever done in a Club 100 car. So practice was just a case of knuckling down, getting consistent, throwing off a couple of overtakes as you see me do there on that guy in the origin. Yeah, just finding the rhythm, getting adjusted to the heat, and that is basically what I did. Practice was a very dull affair, so I won't show you any more of that, but we get going for qualifying, and just before I show you my fastest lap, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Rich T timer. There it is, absolutely beautiful. It's going to be with us for qualifying and for the race. Speaking of qualifying, obviously we've just got underway, and on my first lap I'd rather get held up by that chap in the black helmet, so I decided to back off and give myself some space, which I have done now. We're coming on to my penultimate lap now, which turned out to be my fastest. Obviously a qualifying lap at Buckmore starts with the exit at Garda, so you come across the line and take a wide exit into Conway's, dab of brake and get back on the throttle as soon as you possibly can, heading into hairpin 1. Brake just after the change of tarmac. Brake's very good on the road tax carts these days. Run out to the left and then run all the way out to the right immediately for your entry into hairpin 2, and then blat it down out of the straight of hairpin 2, flat through the first two S's, and then completely flat through the best corner on the track. That is the Siamese sweep. A little bit of braking into Conway's, run out over the red stuff, get yourself a nice wide entry into Paddock, get yourself over the curb, and now up to Garda again. Nice wide entry into the corner. Don't take too much curb because it will unsettle the cart, and then it is full beans up the hill and through Cafe as well. Just a little bit of curb on the left and then fully over the curb on the right, and that was a 46.890, and I'm fairly certain that my next lap would have been better, but unfortunately the chap in the black helmet reared his ugly head again, and that rather compromised my entry into hairpin 1. So unfortunately we did not improve on our lap time, although the lap I'm sure would have been much better just looking at some of my entries into some of the corners. So bit of a shame that. Ultimately we would qualify in P17, which wasn't actually very good in my quest to get a top 10, so I had a lot of work to do, a lot of places to make up them, but that is something that I have been rather good at over the years here at Buckmore, so hopefully I can draw upon that experience to give myself a good result, not just for the sake of getting a good result, but also for the fact that this will be probably my very final race with this helmet. It's been a good servant for the past 5.5 years, but the time has now come to move on to an upgraded model, so hopefully I'll be able to give it a good send-off for what will be its final race.
It's been a long day without you, my friend, and I'll tell you all about it when I see you again.
I'm gonna miss him. I'm gonna miss him so much. Anyway, we have got a top 10 to achieve. We've also got Andrew Mather to overtake, who is starting in 6th place. We're all about ready to go here. Let's see how we get on at the start. So a certainly chaotic but average start that was. Didn't really gain any positions, although having just said that, looks like we're about to send one down the inside on that chap in the white helmet, following Bailey Morgan down the inside into hairpin 1, and looks like we've made up now for not really gaining too much at the start, but it certainly was a chaotic one. My personal highlight was the 5 wide coming out of hairpin 2, and of course the lunge on the chap in the Union Jack helmet into Garda. But we're now in about 3 minutes into this race now. We're coming up into hairpin 1, right up Bailey Morgan's arse, and you can just see that even at 3.5 minutes into this race, it is so close between all of us. Bailey Morgan there going down the inside of that chap in the orange and black, and the orange and black man has fought back, and now this is surely going to give us an opportunity into paddock and then obviously into Garda. Bailey Morgan keeping close to the man in orange, and he's going to go for it down the inside into paddock. Maybe he rushed it a little bit there because he hasn't got the move to pay off, and now I've got an opportunity to go down the inside into Garda. It all looks like there's a bit of contact there, little bit squirrely on the throttle, so that was a little bit close. And yes, the very next lap come across the line to see penalty for kart 11. That was of course me, and that is a 4-place ABC bump and pass penalty. A little bit harsh. There was a gap and I went for it. I was ultimately just trying to race those guys, but yeah, it was a little bit below the belt. But now we've just got to try and make up as many positions as we possibly can to try and get us in a top 10. We're going to do that immediately by going down the inside on this chap in the dusty gold and black helmet. So that's 1 position gain there, but we really need to be pushing on forward. You can see the gap to the guys in front, but it only took about 2 laps to get right onto the back of this chap whose name I cannot remember, but he has got a magnificent helmet and his racing helmet is quite good as well. But yeah, we're right onto the back of this pack who I think are fighting for sort of the upper reaches of the top 10, and so yeah, we've just got to see what we can do here. Have a little look down the inside there of the chap in the orange and black helmet, but nothing doing for the moment. But it is fantastic to see. It was exactly the same in qualifying, that it was so close time-wise, and that's really shown through into the race. We're all so close to one another, and now you can just see here, man in the orange and black, and also we're behind, I believe that's Carl Young in the white helmet, and that is Andrew Mather of Double Dash Motorsport Media just in front. So it looks like we might have a little bit of Club 100 Media team inter-team rivalry going on there, and so Carl Young has now got past Andrew Mather, and it looks like the man in the orange and black is also going to send one down the inside. So now it's my turn to have a go on Andrew, and for the first time I think ever on camera, we are going to have Rich T Racing versus Double Dash Motorsport Media. So here we go through Simon's. I've got a much better run on him coming into Pullman's. Andrew, he's just got a little bit coming through Pullman's, but now on the exit of paddock, there's certainly an opportunity. I've got to make sure I keep up with the guys in front, so I'm going to send it down the inside, and we've already lost a little bit of time to the guys in front, and I'm pretty sure, yep, there he goes, Andrew fighting back. So the endurance tactics of working together, not quite working at the moment. Andrew giving the special signal to say, let's work together, but he's just a little bit too slow heading up the main straight, and I'm bumping him as I'm going through turn 2, and I've got no choice really but to send it down the inside of hairpin 1, because he was just a little bit too slow and I had to get past him to keep up with the guys in front. He wasn't particularly happy with me, but that is what had to happen. So anyway, there we go. In terms of on-track action, it is now 1-0 to Rich T Racing, and we are going to hopefully keep that form going forward for the rest of this championship. But as you just saw there, coming across the line, the pit window is now open, so I'm going to do what I did at Shellington, get out of the traffic and head into the pits to hopefully enact the undercut. You can see there are 2 carts in front of us, and if this had been refueling in BUKC or in Club 100, I might have been in a bit of trouble there, but fortunately there are more than 2 spaces for the refueling, and I've actually got quite a good little pit stop there. I came in at quite a rate of knots, so the undercut will hopefully come into effect as the other guys around us come into the pit. So we go, and as you can see as well, we've got a nice amount of clean air just behind Carl Young, so this undercut tactic definitely working, provided of course you can get out into the clean air, and you're going to see the effects of the undercut right now, because there goes the chap in the orange and black, and so it's quite clearly worked the pit stop, and we gain another position in terms of the race actual. And I think now we're going to cut forward once again, coming into Pullman's, into paddock, and there goes the yellow and black helmet of Mr. Edwards, whose first name I have to say I do forget. He's a little bit too far in front of us, but we're going to absolutely send it down the inside of him into Garda, and that is another position made up in the race. We're behind Farcella now, or Farcella, whatever you want to say. And now here comes another chap in a beautiful green and yellow race suit, and the helmet's not too bad either. And we just decided not to send it that time. Little bit risky, so we're going to stick behind him now. We're going to lose a little bit of time to the guys out in front, but this is a race that needs to be happening. I've got a good run on him coming up past the start-finish line. Coming into Conway's, give him a little bit of a bump there, give him a lovely little bump there, and then you know what, he's just going to turn his wheel and hit me and prevent me from doing an overtake. I've never quite experienced that in Club 100 racing before. I mean, I know I was a little bit aggressive, I got a little bit argy-bargy as we went through turn 2, but to turn your wheel in on me deliberately to stop me from overtaking that's just way below the belt. And what's even more disappointing is I found out that this chap is actually a professional racing driver who races in European Le Mans. So yeah, so he's turned his wheel on me. And what was also a little bit disappointing, but I'm not going to get too bothered by it, is he didn't get a penalty of any description. It was one of those things. It just didn't get seen by the stewards. So I got a 4-place penalty for something that was okay. It was harsh but fair. And this guy doesn't get a penalty for something that is definitely harsh and definitely not fair. So yeah, suffice to say, this riled me a bit, and I began to lose a bit of time. It took me a few minutes to sort of get back onto the back of him, but fortunately, I then am able to send it down the inside into guard. I have to say, that one felt good. That one felt really good to get the overtake done once again. You can see in front of us now there is a good little scrap going on between Mrs. Carl Young, that chap in the black helmet, and also Farcella, who's actually been able to get in front of these two, and has the potential to break away. And as you can see a few minutes later, that is in fact what he is doing. And now here goes the chap in the black helmet on Carl Young. Carl Young rubbing up against him a little bit as well. And then this is... He just gets forced off. Just gets forced off onto the grass. So there's another place for me there. Although unfortunately the chap in the black helmet didn't quite fall by the wayside as in the same manner that Carl Young did, and now he has got back in front of me. So yeah, very much a feisty affair. This one, a chaotic affair. This race has turned out to be. Lost a little bit of time through Garden. Now we're coming up into Conway's, and I believe we've run a bit wide there, and that is because we are being overtaken. Whom are we being overtaken by? Down into Head 1, the single man, reveal yourself, and it is the chap who drove into me. He's managed to overtake me without bumping into me. Well done to him. And now this is going to turn into a nice little scrap heading out of hairpin 2. He was much better than me coming up the hill, but I was much better than him heading down the hill. So we're going to come through Siamese into paddock. I get a good line through there, and then he just sort of slowed down a bit at the apex of the corner, and he's looking behind me very exaggeratingly and also putting his hand on me. I don't think you've got too much to say when it comes to argy-bargy here. But anyway, we're now going to head up the hill. As I mentioned, he is slightly better than me through here. You can see I'm not exactly really gaining anything on him, but importantly I'm not losing. Actually, again, as I just say, I wasn't really gaining on him, but just as we came into the corner I was, and I've got a good run out of turn 2 heading down into hairpin 1, and I'm going to get the move done. Fortunately was not turned in on and was actually able to get an overtake in hairpin 1 done. So we're now going to move on. About 20 minutes left of the race. We're cut forward to about 15 minutes left. We're heading into Conway's once again. We've run wide again, and there he goes once more. So this has turned into a proper decent scrap heading through hairpin 1. Mr. I can't remember his name, but chap in the yellow and green once again back in front of me. 15 minutes to go. I've got to see if I can get in front of him and get in front of the chap in the black helmet. I think we're actually going to be able to work together now. As we head into Conway's once again a few minutes later, you just see he's just again barging his way through. A very feisty driver this chap is, and had a little look into hairpin 1, but nothing doing for the moment. Also, apologies for the GoPro. I think it is beginning to tilt up a little bit if the angle just looks slightly weird. But anyway, here we go. We've got to make sure we keep up with these two guys, which we are managing to do. It has to be said. Heading through paddock now. Is there going to be any opportunity going into Garden? Not for me, but there is an opportunity for the chap in the green and yellow to go down the inside of the chap in black, but it's not quite worked out. But as we saw earlier, he is much better into Conway's than myself, and also from the looks of it, from this guy in the black. And he's going to go to the inside now. He's a little bit behind him, and he's still bumping and barging his way through, but that has now allowed him to get past this chap in the black helmet. What kind of fight back is he going to be able to do? It doesn't look like he's going to be able to do anything at the moment. He's going to send it, actually, take that all back right immediately. He's going to send it down the inside of the chap, but if, oh God, blood, Jesus, bloody Nora, it's the feistiness and chaoticness of this race has really jumped up a bit, and somehow I was able to absolutely send it around the outside of the first S, a move that I don't think I've ever quite pulled off in the dry before. But yeah, so we have at least made up the position on the chap in the black helmet. But you did just see again, this guy just sort of drove across the front of the chap trying to overtake him. And I'm sorry, that's just below the belt. It's below the belt type racing. It is dirty. I don't mean to be acting all salty, but I'm still riled up about it. Not going to lie, a few weeks later, I still haven't quite let this go. But anyway, let's move on from that and get back to the business of racing, because what's happened here is actually quite detrimental to my race itself, because the chap in the green and yellow has got past this back marker, but I have not been able to. And that means that he has got an opportunity to get away from me. So I've got to get past this back marker as quickly as possible. But whilst this back marker is obviously slower than us, he still does know what he's doing. It's not going to be the easiest move to get done. And as you can see, the amount of time I've already lost to the chap in green and yellow is quite extortionate. So we're going to have to get past this guy as quickly as possible. Unfortunately, he has run wide through turn 2, and this is going to give me an opportunity to send it down the inside of hairpin 1, and now I have got a good opportunity to go on chasing after the man in green and yellow, although the back marker was going to try and fight back through hairpin 2, but fortunately that is not what happened. So we had just 10 minutes of this race left to go. I had to do my best to gain on the chap in the green and yellow, and as you can see here, by the power of editing, that is what we just did over the course of the next few laps. We're getting right up on him, although we lost a little bit of time there through Siamese Street, but now with just 8 minutes of this race left to go, we are much closer to them than we have been at any other stage during that little period. Heading out of hairpin 2, now coming down through the S's, through Siamese Sweep, where I can already line up the move that I want to pull off, getting really close to him through Paddock, through Pullman's even, now through Paddock. He's got a little bit squirrely under exit. I'm going to send it down the inside of Garda, and the move is done. So that, on track at least, was a position gained, and that meant, again, the move earlier meant a lot to me, this one meant a lot to me as well. Got back past him, and that would bring the action of this race to a conclusion. That was the last sort of overtake I did. I have it on good authority that he was chasing me for the rest of the race, but he never got back past, and that was a great relief. The authority I have that on is from my lovely girlfriend Polly and her mum Sarah, who was sat in the grandstands cheering me on, absolutely loving it. Apparently they were cheering so loudly and getting so excited, everybody else around them was absolutely silent, and when I heard that, I was absolutely buzzing, because that's how it should be done. But yes, as I mentioned, this is the end sort of the action. My GoPro tends to die with about 2 minutes to go, and that is exactly what happened here. So ladies and gentlemen, I can reveal to you that on the track I would finish in P10, but obviously with the 4-place penalty I would finish in P14. Obviously a bit disgruntled about the fact that the chap who drove into me to stop me from overtaking didn't get a penalty. He would ultimately finish in P10 after penalties were applied, and obviously disgruntled by that, still a bit bitter about it, I'm not gonna lie, but marshals can't see everything, the observers can't do everything, they've got a tough job, and sometimes these things do get missed, and that is just got to get on with it really. So I'm not going to blame the marshals or anything at all, but yes, of course, still a little bit disgruntled. This was, I think, apart from that, it was a fantastic race to take part in. It was action all the way through. I wish I could bring it all to you. I might do. I might decide to do an entire 1 hour commentary on this race, because it really was so enjoyable, so much going on. But yeah, we'll see what happens there. It was also an immensely physically draining race, because it was just so hot. I mean, once the adrenaline wore off when I came into the pits, I suddenly realised just how drained I was and how thirsty I was, how dehydrated I was. I had to drink so much water, and I eventually just resorted to pouring an entire bottle over myself as well, as was the physical effort. Probably up there as one of the most physically draining races I've ever done, more so than the BUKC 24 hour last year for sure. That is what I will say. But yes, a seriously enjoyable race. I was really happy to have gone from 17th to 10th on the road, And yeah, it all just bodes well for the future when I am able to come back and do more E60 events, which will hopefully be able to happen as this year progresses. And if you've enjoyed this video and you want to see more karting content like what you've just seen here, please be sure to subscribe to the channel, hit that bell for notifications so that you know when a new Rich T Racing video has gone up. And that does bring this video to a conclusion. Thank you very much for watching. Do be sure to keep an eye out as well if I do decide to do a full 60-minute race commentary. And the final thing I shall say for now is ta-ta and farewell.